Hi, welcome to my demo session. In this class, I am about to explain you on how to load the FlatFile data into an InfoCube. Yes, into an InfoCube. What is an InfoCube? It's one of the 6 types of info providers. Let me tell you the 6 types of info providers in BI. It's InfoCube, data storage object, multi-provider, InfoSet, info object characteristics with master data and attributes, and virtual providers. Yes. So in this class, we will be loading a data from a FlatFile into the InfoCube, which is a kind of info provider. As a basic BI consultant, this video is going to be very useful to you. This is the sheet. This is the data that I was talking about. This data we are about to load into the BI system. Now, what does this data have? It has 5 fields named employee ID, department ID, project ID, number of hours, and salary. The first 3 fields, employee ID, department ID, and project ID, are always going to be unique because they are not subject to any change, whereas the last 2 columns are subject to change. Now, this is the first screen that you will get as soon as you log into the BI system. So, our primary code for logging into this system and the primary T code that we are about to use for performing this task will be RSA1. So, that's the exact T code that I am going to enter now, and that will allow us to get into the BI system. So, RSA1, enter. So, as soon as you enter, you may have some pop-up. Just avoid those and get, yeah, this is the screen. This is the first screen that you will be seeing as soon as you log into the system. At the left side, there are several tabs. So I will be navigating through those tabs for our operation. Let me directly get into the point. First, go to the info provider, right click and create an info area. So the info area is the first thing that we need to create, and naming it as VTST_IA for simplification purpose. I am going to give the same description, same value in long description field also. Continue. As soon as you proceed with your info area creation, so you will be able to see the info area that we created below. Yeah, here it is. Right now I am marking it. As soon as you have created an info area, as the next step, you have to, there are certain cases where you won't see the info area. In those cases, just refresh it. Right? Now, once the info area is created, the next step is to go to info object. In info object, the info area that we have created will be present. Now, yeah, here it is. Again, if it is not there, you can refresh it. Right click the info area and create the info object catalog. This info object catalog is going to be the template that you are going to provide. Why the info object catalog? See, I told you the first 3 fields are not subject to any change, and the last 2 fields are subject to change. So I am going to categorize these first 3 fields as characteristics, since they are not subject to any change. So I will create a separate catalog for them, and the last 2 fields I will create a separate catalog for them. I will consider them as key figures, and the first 3 fields will be considered as characteristics. So 2 catalogs, one for characteristics and another for key figures. And if you see here in this data, employee ID, department ID, and project ID won't change at an instant of time, whereas the number of hours and salary may get updated day by day. Every day the number of hours get increased and the salary gets increased. So that's why I'm considering the number of hours and salary as key figures, and I'm performing a separate catalog for them. Now right click, create info object catalog. Provide the info object catalog name. As always, we are using VTSD will be the common prefix. Info object characteristics for first catalog, and paste the same in the description just to maintain the simplicity. And the info object type that I'm using is character. You can see it, right? Create it. So this is the first screen. It's always a good practice to activate your each step. Once you have activated, you will get the info object catalog here beneath your info area, right? Now again, create the second info object catalog. right click, create info object catalog, provide the name with the prefix ZTST as we are using. So it's going to be ZTST underscore KF, right? Because it's a key figure, so it is same in the description. And now be very careful what I'm doing, what I'm about to do. Select the info object type as key figure, right? And then proceed to create. Because we are going to add only those two things here, which is key figure, which is going to be number of hours and salary. Create it, and as I always tell you, please activate. It's taking some time for this creation. Yeah, it has created. Now, apologies, our system here is being quite slow here. Yeah, activate it. Once you have activated, you can see both the info object catalog present beneath the info area. Now right click on the first info object characteristics. Right click on the first catalog which we have created for characteristics and create the info object. Now we are going to create the info object inside this info object catalog, which is again going to be ZTST underscore our first field. What's it? Employee ID, right? So ZTST is a common prefix that I will be using throughout this demo session. So ZTST underscore employee ID, the same I'm going to provide in the long description. I will proceed to create it. Now the data type, I will be using the data type as character just to maintain simplicity throughout this session. So the length I can give 5. I'm just giving it 5 and I'm activating it. So it is successfully activated. You can see the green signal below. Now right click again, create the second column, which is going to be our department ID, I suppose. Yeah, it's department ID. So I'll be creating the info object type for department ID. So now my catalog is going to get fed with the second info object type. I'll be providing the same in the description. And I proceed. Again, I'm going to select the same character to maintain simplicity. The length I'm going to give 5 again, and I'm going to activate it. Now I have fed the two columns. One is employee ID, another one is department ID. Now proceeding with the third one, create info object and give the project ID. CPST or common prefix and CID. Yes, give the same in the description. You know that. So I'll be giving the same in the description. And I'm proceeding to create it. Yeah, I'm proceeding to create it. And data type again, I'm going to give a characteristic value for this, and I'm going to give a length of 5. Or yeah, 5 should do. The reason why I'm selecting characteristics just maintain simplicity. I can also select any other data type as per the requirement, but I just provide characters, and character will suit the data that we have in the Excel sheet. Yeah, 5 I give and I activate it. So on activation I will get a green signal. Yes, so I have finished with my first catalog which I have created for characteristics. Now coming to the second catalog which I have created for key figures, right click and create the info object for key figure. Now give the same prefix and the number of hours. This is the info object type for a number of hours. Now if you see the next screen when I create it, the data types available for key figures will be completely different from that of characteristics, right? So that shows the difference. I'm going to select integer since my number of hours will, the data type, the integer data type will suit the number of hours. And I can also select any other data type relevant to the particular data I have in my sheet. So here I'm going to select integer and I'm going to proceed to create this info object type for this catalog. So yes, our first info object type is created for number of hours. Right click, create info object and create your second info object type, which is going to be our salary. So I'm going to give the same in the description, which you will be already knowing it. So continue, and for simplicity purpose, amount I can also select amount as a data type, but I need to give the unit and currency for it, which makes this process slightly complicated. So I'm proceeding to give the integer to make it simple, and I'm going to activate it. So done. Yes, we are good. We have created the template to load the data, and now this column will be holding the values that I feed them through my Excel sheet, right? And so, next step, go to the source system and right click at the top and create it. You can either create through this method, right click, create FlatFile system, or you can directly go to the FlatFile there, here, right click and create. You can either create both ways. Both ways you can create, but I always prefer the common method just to show the options available. I just showed you. Create FlatFile system and continue. So here you need to provide the FlatFile name, which is going to be CTFT is my common prefix, SF. I'm going to give the same name for my source system also. So the logical system name and source system name. So this is the FlatFile that is going to hold my data. So continue it. And this is one of the tedious process. I mean, more time consuming step in this particular process. It takes more time, and it also depends upon your system availability. So your system is fast, this creation can be fast. So my apologies here, it's going to be a bit time consuming. Yes, so we have created. So now if you drag down and see ZPST underscore FF, here it is. So our FlatFile has got created. Right now we have created a FlatFile source system. Double click on it. Just double click on it. As soon as you double click on the FlatFile, it will take you to the data sources. You can see at the left the node is being navigated. It will take you to the data sources. Now right click on the top and create your application component. So for the FlatFile that you have just created, you are going to create the application component for it. So create your application component. Provide the name. You know what the prefix is. AC, which will abbreviate as application component. I'm going to use the same value in the description also. So create your application component and continue. So once the application component is created, and you can see the created application component is below. All you just need to do is scroll down, and where it is. Wrong click. Here it is. Here it is. ZPST underscore AC. Again, the application component created, now you have to create the data source. So this is going to be my container where I'm going to put the data initially. So give a name for your data source. ZPST is going to be my prefix, and underscore I'll name it as DS, which will abbreviate the data source. So let me name this data source. And here there are multiple options. Let me tell you when I come to them. ZPST underscore DS, and the data source type. What kind of data are you going to load? Yes, it's a transaction data, because the sheet whatever you have has both characteristic values and key figure values. So now the data goes information. The description, you can provide the same description to all the short description, medium description, long description. You can provide all as same. It's as per your convenience. I'm trying to maintain same for all. Now go to the extraction tab. In the extraction tab, there is a delta process field at the top. Here we are going to do a full upload. So I am selecting the relevant option. You can always also check the other options to the drop down. Coming to the second one, direct access. No DTP is allowed for direct access. So I am not providing any direct DTP. And adapter, yes, it's a local, it's a text type from a local workstation, right? So I'm going to load it from local workstation. Coming to the next one, where I'm selecting my file. This is the file. This is the file name. I have selected one, and header row to be ignored as 1. And because I'm ignoring the first row, which contains the heading, and data format I'm selecting it as CSV file, since the Excel sheet that I'm having is always the CSV separator, and Comma as data separator I'm using it, and the STX sign I always prefer double one. Going to the next tab, here I can load and see the data, see the example data, how the data is going to be Yeah, here it is. So this is the data that I'm going to load. I'm just having a look at it. This is just to ensure we are good till now. If you compare this data with my Excel sheet data, they are going to be same. So we are good till now. We can proceed further. Go to the fields. Just have a check on the fields. Their data types, assignments, and the format. It always should be internal, right? And once this tab is clear and good, then we are going to the next tab, preview, and click on read preview. It will ask us to activate it, and once it's activated, you can see the data being flown. I mean, exactly at this point of time, we cannot confirm that the data has been flown into the system. Here, we are just making things set up. Here is the setup, right? So this is the data. So this is the data. This is the data record that whatever we are seeing now. This is the data that I'm going to load into my data source. So till now I have brought it to my data source. Now being brought to my data source, now I have to take the data source, take the data from the data source to the next level, right? So for that purpose, what I'm going to do is right click on the data source, and I'll be getting the option for transformation and info package. So I will be going for creating info package, right? So in this info package, I will put my data from data source. So I will name it first. So it's going to be VCST_IP. So continue IP abbreviations info package. So I'm creating my info package. So once my info package is created, I will do a preliminary check here just to see things are okay so far. So it seems it's okay. If it's okay, you will get a green signal at your left bottom. When I click on it, yeah, here it is. Check carried out. It's okay. Now go to the next tab, extraction. Just check whether the same values that we have entered earlier survive here. So I click from there. Yeah, the message I click this message. So go to the extraction tab. So here, just ensure all the values that we have provided previously or same here. So the same values will automatically get copied because this info package is created for the data source, right? So processing it here is where I'm going to take the data from my data source to PSA. I'm going to take it to my PSA, persistent staging area. Start, schedule it. So this is the instance where I'm going to take my data from my data source into the PSA. So once I start, I'll get a confirmation as data is requested. Yeah, data was requested. So with this, I take the data to my persistent staging area, and once this is done, I'm going to my info provider, right? So info provider, right click on the info area that I have created earlier, right click on it, and here is the place we are going to create the InfoCube. So there is an option for it. You can see from top. Yeah, here it is. Create the InfoCube. Now VTST_IC, which is abbreviated InfoCube. Copy the same for the description. And the reason why we load into PSA is no process, nothing can escape PSA in case of BI, right? So we are loading the data into the PSA, and from there I will be loading it to InfoCube. Now wait. Now right click. Once you created the InfoCube, if I try to activate, see, I get certain errors. Why do these errors occur? See, define at least one characteristic, define at least one key figure. I have created an InfoCube, but I didn't provide any template for them. So in this step, I need to provide a template for them. Fortunately, we have created the template already, and it is ready for this InfoCube to use. Correct? So all I need to do is fetch the template from the particular info object catalog. Click on this info object catalog. This will list down all the info object catalog relevant to this info area. So select the first that we have created for characteristic. So if you expand it, you can see all the three fields. Just drag and drop in the dimension. This is a dimension. So just drag and drop in the dimension one node. So once you drag and drop, you can see all the three fields which are under the catalog passing on to this dimension. Similarly, go to the info catalog again. select the key figure catalog now, drag and drop the key figure and drop it into the key figure folder right beneath. Yes, yeah. Drag and drop both the fields and pass it on to the key figure node. I think I have double checked, so something is coming back. Yeah, drag and drop the star array and drop it on the key figure. Yes, so we have dragged and dropped. Now we have created the template for my InfoCube, and I have allotted the characteristic value and I have allotted the key figure value and proceeding to activate. Now it should allow me to activate successfully. And as you can see, yes, still we are yet to get the green signal. Let's wait. Yeah, our InfoCube has created. Here it is. Here is the green signal. So we have got the icon also. So once the InfoCube is created, here is where we have to perform the process called transformation. What is transformation? Before that, just I will name it. So the object type is going to be a data source. Yes, because I am going to take the data from a data source, and the data source I will name it. So I want the ZPSC on my common prefix underscore DS. So if you have any doubt while searching for the data source, you can simply give the first two names, provide a star, and you can press F4. That will subsequently fill the source system of data also. So I am providing a star and pressing F4, and I will continue with the same description that I have given. I will find a search. Yeah, I found one. So yeah, I think this is the one. Yes. So this is the data source we have created, right? So I am going to select the data source. So I will select the same data source, and once I selected the data source, the FlatFile source system will automatically get loaded. Yeah, source system is automatically filled. So I will continue with this. So now I am trying to create a transformation. So once I continue, you will get this screen. So what is transformation? So transformation is the process of mapping your field from the data source to the InfoCube, right? So this is the left side is the data source field, and right side is the InfoCube field. So you are trying to map the field employee ID to the employee ID, department ID to my department ID. I am just clicking on it and dragging it and passing it to the right. Yeah, that's it. Drag each and every relevant field, drag and drop to the respective places. So once you have dragged and dropped, you can activate it. By activating it, it should get activated successfully. If it gets successfully activated, it means that we have performed our transformation successfully. So now we are mapping the field from our data sources to our InfoCube. Over this signal, this warning. So once we are done, we will get a green signal. Yes, transformation activated successfully, and now we have got a folder for our data transfer process. So right click and create the data transfer process. And during our data transfer process, just cross check all the values are same. Yes, data is getting transferred from your data source. So continue. So from your data source, the actual transfer is going to take place now. How? So there are three different tabs here. You can always go to the three different tabs. Initially you will find this execute button grayed out, and once you need to activate it to enable. And here there are some technical record statuses. You can select the relevant technical status if you want to prefer. I'm just trying to activate it. So once I activate, I get the execute button enabled. I click on it so that I command the system to execute in the background. So once I click on the execute button, my data will start getting transferred from the data source to my InfoCube. That warning all you get is because of my configuration problem. Yeah, here you see data package 1 of 5 records. So my 5 data records has been copied to my InfoCube, and I get all green here. So we are good till now. Yeah, we are good, and all the records has been copied successfully. Now how do we check it? Go to InfoCube, right click on your InfoCube. Right click on your InfoCube and display the data. And once you display fields for selection, select all the fields. Select all the fields that you want to see all. And execute. Here is the data. So this is the data that we are talking about. There will be one column which are created right after your characteristic field, your key field. These columns are for indexing purpose system itself created it. Whereas for key figures you would not find any indexing column. So just don't get confused with the indexing column. And this is your request ID, the request under which this particular transfer has taken place. So from that, the data was loaded successfully. Now again right click and manage. To manage, you will be having different options. In manage, you can see the request ID, the same request ID. 217 was the request ID that transferred the data from the data source. Go to the contents tab. Here you will find different values for this process. Change run ID, record type, request ID, and the 3 different key figure fields. And you can find all other relevant data here. Initially, when you have loaded data into your data source, you can also check whether our data source load was successful. For that purpose, just go to your data sources tab and select go to from your menu. So double click on the data source tab. You must select the data sources. Reach out to your go to menu at the top. Technical attributes. You will get a PSA table, First System Staging Area table. The First System Staging Area table is a table that is going to hold the data. Go to the content. So here, if you see the number of entries, yes, we have the 5 entries. So this we should have done it earlier. So this is the data that we have fetched from the Excel sheet. So this is the transaction data. We have some extra fields like request and data pack ID, which system automatically created it. So we have loaded the data successfully to the data source, and we have kept it in the PSA table. That was the reason our InfoCube was created successfully and it had table. I just came back. So in the data source directly you can also see the data flow. You can also do the same in InfoCube. Just right click on the InfoCube or data source, whatever. Now we are seeing it in data source. Select the upwards or downwards, whatever you wish to. And so here in data source it's just showing data. Since data source was the source of the data as per this particular operation, we only see the data source tab. You can also check the same in InfoCube. That will show data has been flown from data source to InfoCube. You will have a better picture. You try that yourself. So now coming to this, our data source load was successful and our InfoCube load was successful. Now we can also do this load check in a table. So there are 2 tables. It will like /BIC /VTST underscore IC. I think this is a table. No. Yeah. There are 2 tables. They are called as F table, and if you see, so just provide the InfoCube name correctly, and specifically that you need to provide F. And if you check in this table, this is another way of checking whether the InfoCube load has been successful. So remember the table name, BIC is common and the F is common. VTST is the one I am trying to create it, and C. There are 2 tables like F and C table. The C table you cannot see any values here. That's because of my configuration. But since you have seen the values in the F table, it means that our load was successful. So these are all different ways to check whether our data load has been successful. And so the first one was seen through display data in InfoCube. The second one we checked in the table, and we should have checked it in the data source level. Hope this video was very useful to you. And through this video we have now learned how to load data from a FlatFile into BI system in the form of InfoCube, which will serve as an info provider. So we have successfully loaded the data from the FlatFile into InfoCube. So I hope this video is helpful to you. Thanks for listening. Goodbye. Have a great time.